Right. Thank you, sir, for all of those answers. So, there's a question that is more practical to me, and yeah, it's more personal. So, God gives ideas,
Yeah.
but then one of the biggest issues I think not just me but many people have had is you've gotten the idea, but many times we are hooked on the idea to is the execution of the idea. How where do we go? Like many times, like he has given me several ideas, and I asked the question, how do I move from here? Because many times the the ideas he gives, you look at yourself or at the point where you're at that point,
Yeah.
and it looks like achieving that thing is at well start like looking from the standpoint where you are achieving that thing is almost impossible. So he begs the question, how do you proceed from there? The ideation stage, how do you move? Especially knowing that it's not just an idea that came from the person, this is a God given idea. And so maybe he would expect you to do it the way he wants. So, how
Do you move from ideation to realization? You said God is the only one who gives ideas, but you have to also understand that God gives godly ideas, but Satan is also trying to imitate God. You know, he gives ungodly ideas. Like when he met Eve, he gave her some ideas, but the ideas were not godly. That is why the game changer is the who. You get my point? If you don't know the who, you won't know the difference. Let me give you an example. God told Abraham to go and kill his son. Later, the same God came and said, "Don't." Many of you, I'm sure, will say, "Get behind me, Satan." God said, "I should kill the boy." You get my point? But the same God who said, "Kill the boy," later said, "Don't." But Abraham was sensitive. He knew the difference. He knew the voice of God. He understood the voice of God. He understood that the same God was the one who said, "Kill." And the same God was the one who later said. So if you don't know God, you won't know His will. You won't understand the difference. Are you with me? So now, there is something I want you to understand about ideas. If you are proud, you won't execute well. Let's look at, you have to see an idea like a giant. God created us with different gifts so that we will give Him the glory and at the same time so that we will need each other. All right? Look at Adam. Letter A, how many? Two in Adam. Letter D, one. But without the D, you will just have but you can't have the that sound. So when God wants you to build a giant, sometimes the first thing He will do is to reveal the head so that you will look for someone to give you the hand. And because we need each other, that alone makes us humble. Are you understanding God's operational plan? We are different to need each other, so that by needing each other, we become humble and we do it well and better. I want you to understand this. There was a time I explained in one of my sessions with Pastor about intra, inter, mass, intermass. When God gives you an idea is illumination. You suddenly see something that you didn't see before. The first stage of an idea is intra. Intra. Intra means the communication from within that takes place within. Right now, I don't even know what you're thinking about. I don't know what you're thinking about. You don't know what I'm thinking about. That is intra. So that at that level, you are the first encourager and the first potential destroyer of that idea. Maybe now you have an idea. We don't know anything about it. You are thinking about it. So that's the intra level. So after intra, many people will never move to the next stage with their ideas. And that is why they will die with so much ideas in them. So the next step is inter, which is what one professor, the stage that one professor calls incubation stage. So you have to look for somebody to share the idea with. You see the point? Yes, you have to look for somebody to share the idea. But it so happens that in this time, many people are afraid. They think, what about if I share the idea and he steals the idea?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Even if you don't share it with somebody, Satan can know your thoughts sometimes. And you can take it from your thoughts and give it to somebody, directly or indirectly. So, that is why, you know that now, if you come to me with an idea, you know that I will not steal your idea. So that's why at this level, you look for the people you trust, the right people to share the idea with. That is inter. Jesus has lived for many years unknown, hidden. But when the time came for him to move to inter, he went and called his disciples. You get my point? Before he went mass, he managed inter first. Then the third stage is the mass stage. That is the time the idea is now well known. Look at it now. I came to town with this mentoring program. I started, it was intra, okay. Then we did one-on-one with my children. And now at this small level, we are doing this stage, and then bam, one day you will see people coming from different nations. But the problem many of you are having is this: you move from intra to mass, and then your ideas do not last. Because at mass level, you activate many enemies, and when they fight you, you are not strong. Because the inter level is what will make you strong. The incubation level is what will make you strong. So that when you suddenly appear at the mass level, no enemy can bring you down. You're already strong. Look at me now. I went to Lagos for a program and I talked. Somebody came to me and asked me, where have you been? I said, I have been in this country waiting for God. But if you appear at the mass level without going through the inter, you are going to have so many issues. So you have to go through the process. You have to make sure that you are developed. The idea must develop you before it will execute you. When you people move from infancy to being an adult, you people are growing up like Adam, no childhood experience. You know, yes. He didn't have that. Yes. So you have to be very careful. And that's why God is still insisting on the process. The process is very important. Let me tell you this: as you develop in this process, you will discover that one day that the process is even more precious than the result. Because the result leads you to celebration, but the process makes you a learner. And many of you are working on your visions without a pause, a result stage. You allow success to surprise you. Any success that surprises you is not your own. Do you know why it's not your own? You're not expecting it. It's not in your plan. No, you can talk. It's not just. If you are surprised by success, it is not yours. Why should it surprise you? I don't know why should it surprise you. Now you are writing, then you become surprised. Hey, I can write, I can write. Eventually, you understand that beyond the result, there is another journey. And if you don't allow God to take you through the process, you lose relevance there.